What is going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we've got a nice and easy video for us. We've got a 2019 GMC Terrain with the turbo 1.5 liter, and this thing is due for a service, so we're going to go ahead, do an oil change, check the air filter, and give this thing a good once over and make sure it's good to go. So let's get through the intro and jump right into today's video. So now that we've gotten through the intro, let's go ahead and take a look at what we're working with. As a lot of you might know, my channel is more aimed at building stuff or performance oriented, but this was something I was going to have to do anyways, so I figured I might as well make a video of it because it might be able to help someone out. So we decided we're going to start off with the oil change. So we picked ourselves up some AMSOIL, and like I mentioned, this is the turbo 1.5 liter. Thing is so cute, really tiny turbo, but it's a turbo nonetheless. So we've got some 020 full synthetic signature series AMSOIL. I like running this stuff in everything. I've used it quite a bit and have been extremely happy with it. We also went with an AMSOIL filter. Part number is right there, but I will link all this stuff in the description below. So now that we've taken a look at it, let's go ahead, get some tools out, get underneath this thing, and start getting the oil draining. So first things first, you've got to get this thing up in the air a little bit, unless you've got a rack that you can drive on. So there's a couple good jack points on this car, but there's two, one on each side, right up at the front here where I've got my jack. It's a little notch out in the plastic with a seam weld coming down. There's also some rails under here where I have that jack stand that you could also place a jack. So pretty easy car to jack up. So now let's get under it and drain the oil. So now that we're under here, you can see the oil filter is right here, pretty easily accessible, and then our drain plug is gonna be right here. What I like to do is I take a 7mm socket and I just take out a couple of these little bolts, just so that if we get oil on anything, it's easy to get out. And then I just do that. You can take this whole shield off, but it's a lot quicker and easier just to loosen a couple bolts and hold it to the side. And if it drains and gets on here, you can just wipe it out with a rag. So now that we've got that down, let's go ahead and grab our oil filter tool. I'm going to be using one of these styles. Just throw it on a 3/8 ratchet. Just like that. Alright, grab our drain pan. I'm gonna let that run right into our drain pan here. Alright, that's pretty close to done dripping now, so I'm just gonna go ahead and pop this off. If this is something new to you guys, if this is, you don't usually change your own oil, make sure that the O-ring on the oil filter itself comes off. You don't want it stuck on the car up in here. Talking about this oil O-ring right here that seals this to the block. You don't want that to stick onto the engine up in here, because then you'll have a double O-ring, and the new filter, it may seal okay off the bat, but it will blow out. Let's grab our new filter and get that ready to go on. I'm gonna open one of our new quarts of oil here. Take a little bit of oil from it and put it directly onto the new O-ring of the new filter. Some people like to fill these. You can if you want, but on something like this, it's gonna fill this filter pretty quick. And it's already got oil film on all the engine parts, so not really that big of a deal. So, now that we've got that oiled up, let's get back under there and throw this on. Now that we've got fresh oil on our O-ring of our new filter, you can go ahead and get this started on. Now you want to get the filter tight, but you don't want to go so tight that you're not going to be able to get it off next time. Till it's hand tight, basically. So ours is hand tight. We're good to go. Let's go ahead, grab a socket, and get the oil drained. Make sure we wipe any oil that's in there out. And now I'm gonna go ahead and throw these 2 screws back in it for now. So now we need our drain pan and a 15mm socket, and I'm gonna go ahead and break our drain plug free. And I will just let this thing drain. And if I didn't say it earlier, make sure you've let this thing cool down before you go doing this. It's kind of just self-explanatory, but don't burn yourself. So now we'll just let this thing drain. So let's check the air filter while this thing drips for a few. So to check the air filter, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and unplug the mass airflow sensor. You slide the red clip up, push in on the tab, and pull out on the plug, just like so. And then I'm also going to go ahead and take the little clips that are here and pop them out. You can just pry them out with a screwdriver so that we're not pulling on the wiring when we pull this lid off. They're just the little Christmas tree style ones, and you just pry them out with a screwdriver or a little push pin tool. So we got those out of our way. Now we need a 7mm socket once again. There's 4 of them. Go ahead and loosen all 4 of those. And then we can just pull the lid up like so and check it. Ours isn't bad. This one can keep running. It's got a little bit of dirt on it, but nothing crazy. So I'm going to throw this thing back together real quick. And just as simple as it came out, we can put it back together. Alright, got the housing back together. We can plug our mass airflow back in, put the red clip down, push the little push pins back in. Now let's go ahead, throw the drain plug back in and start getting oil in this thing. So we've let this thing drip drain for a little while now, so I'm going to throw the drain plug back in it. Grab our 3/8 ratchet that we've got here. Now I'm going to use a 3/8 ratchet, but if you guys do want the torque spec, it is 18 foot-pounds. So you don't need to crank this thing super tight, just pretty much snug. It's like so. I'm going to grab a rag and a little bit of brake clean. All right, now we can go back up top and start throwing oil back in this thing. All right, let's put some oil in this thing. So ours is an all-wheel drive model. They do make a front-wheel drive model. I believe the front-wheel drive takes about 4.2 quarts, and the all-wheel drive like this one is supposed to take 5.3 quarts. So we'll start somewhere around 5 and then check it from there. Quart number 5. We're going to put a little bit out of our 6th one here. I'm going to go about there. And we can roll this thing out, fire it up, and check it. So we've got a little bit over 5 quarts in it. And I'm just going to check, make sure there is oil on the stick. It should be a little bit high right now, which it is. So we know we're good to roll it outside. We'll fire this thing up, let it run for a minute, fill the oil filter up, and then we will check it again before we take it for a quick ride. Now that we've let it run for a second, let's double check the oil level. Now that we ran it for a minute, we can go ahead and check the level. Perfect, we are spot on. Let's go ahead and take this thing for a quick ride. Just gonna take this thing for a ride and make sure everything's good to go with it. It would actually be kind of funny to take one of these and do like a downpipe intake tune, maybe a bigger turbo or something. It'd be like the ultimate sleeper. They do make a 2.0, I believe. One of those, there are actual like aftermarket supports for it. The 1.5, there's not much out there, but with the 2.0, it would actually be kind of funny to do some stuff like that. Good fuel mileage, nice little SUV, and it would probably actually get up and go pretty good. But let's drive it around a little bit. We'll go back to the house and double check the oil and make sure everything's good to go. Alright guys, so it's really that easy to do an oil change on one of these things. If you own one, get out there, save yourself some money and do it yourself. If you enjoyed today's video, think about looking back on the channel. We've got a bunch of different how-to videos and a ton of build content, so make sure to take a look back and check that stuff out. As always, I appreciate you for checking out the channel. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell, and check us out on all of our other social media platforms, Facebook, TikTok, and Bought to Build Official on Instagram. And we will catch you on the next one.